Today on Public Eye News, former President Donald Trump relates to Detroit to developing countries on the tail end of his campaign trail. And later, an interagency operation is taking place at the troubled prison housing Sean Diddy Combs. More details later in the show.
The one and only Andy Jordan has a look into the weather forecast around the UP, and later, our very own Luke Niddle has your Public Eye Sports Weekend recap. I'm Reed Hall.
And I'm Bianca Kroll, and this is Public Eye News. Former President Donald Trump criticized Detroit while visiting the big swing state. Trump said, quote, "I think Detroit and some of our areas makes us a developing nation," end quote. Earlier in the campaign, he claimed the whole country would, quote, "end up like Detroit," end quote, if Kamala Harris wins. The harsh comment had Democrats in the city feeling like it wasn't right since the recent drop in crime and the growing population of the city. He later went to Pennsylvania and talked to the young people on how he would promise better conditions to the start of their careers. Trump also said if he was voted in as president, he would make sure that young people have a fighting chance in the economy. He hopes for them to grow and inherit the freest, strongest, and most powerful nation on earth. And across the state, Kamala Harris was in Kalamazoo, Michigan, rallying for women's rights. Harris was joined by former First Lady Michelle Obama, who showed her support during the rally. Obama challenged men to support women's abortion rights. Obama said, quote, "If we don't get this election right, your wife, your daughter, your mother, we as women will become collateral damage to your rage." This rally was Obama's first appearance on the campaign trail since her last appearance at the Democratic National Convention. Harris took the stage after and promised to the crowd that she would keep their interests in mind. Harris believes this is a yearning country who wants to see a more involved president.
And the Michigan Department of Lifelong Education, Advancement, and Potential, known as MyLeap, has received nearly $20 million to continue 4 successful programs to improve child care access and quality. These programs are funded by the Child Care Development Block Grant and will be administered by the Early Childhood Investment Corporation. The supported programs include the Family Child Care Networks that aims to support home-based child care programs across the state, and the Regional Child Care Coalitions that brings together economic development and early childhood leaders to assess child care needs. It also includes the Great Start to Quality program that leads day-to-day implementation of the state's quality improvement system that supports early education providers, and the Great Start Collaborative that provides training for Great Start family coalitions and collaboratives. These funds were received from the Biden-Harris administration. And an external audit of Northern Michigan University's most recent financial statements has resulted in a clean, unmodified report and the highest level of assurance. The audit was conducted for the fiscal years ending June 30th of 2024 and 2023. NMU President Brock Tessman took the time to credit the Vice President for Finance and Administration, Gavin Leach, and his staff for their hard work and accuracy. Northern's 2024 total net position grew by nearly $57 million from the year prior to $371 million. The bulk of the increase is said to be, quote, attributed to a state appropriation to pay down the MPSERS retirement system unfunded liability at NMU, end quote. The audit was unanimously approved by all 6 trustees in a virtual Board of Trustees meeting Friday morning. And if one thing is certain during the election season, it's that people are always trying to get your attention. However, one anonymous artist, or rather their work, is gaining some recognition for making a big statement. Reporter Meryl Hubbard has more. Take a look.
Whether it's for better or for worse, this traveling naked Trump is certainly getting people talking.
I think it's great. I think it shows the man for who he really is, which is not a great guy.
It's insane. It's huge. A little disturbing.
I wish it had a little bit of clothes on it.
This 6,000-pound, all-exposing sculpture is made up of foam and rebar, and it popped up in Madison on Friday. But this isn't the first city the naked figure has streaked through.
Yeah, I think it's going to be in big cities that are big, swing, controversial cities.
Seen in Las Vegas, Phoenix, Detroit, and now Madison, this hovering structure has sparked people's interest in its artist and the message.
I thought, wow, someone's finally showing him for who he is. And I think the artist is brilliant.
An anonymous artist deems this the crooked and obscene tour. The unknown organizers say they want viewers to question the transparency or lack thereof in politics, leaving it up to interpretation.
And for me, Trump represents somebody that doesn't care about America and is willing to do anything for self-serving purposes.
You'd like to think that your president is somebody you can look up to, but quite frankly, this is no worse than anything he himself has done.
Most people who stopped to take a look took joy out of the piece, but others thought it was a poor reflection of where we are at as a country.
You know, this is really shameful that we're depicting our own president like this, but again, this is no worse than what he's done himself.
By the end of Sunday, the naked Trump was taken down to travel elsewhere. From head to toe, it's packed up and ready for the next undisclosed location. Reporting in Madison, Meryl Hubbard, News 3 Now.
Now don't touch that dial. We'll be back with your weather and national news after this break.
What might be a crime in some countries is just everyday liberty in America.
Free speech, free thought, free religion. Never tried before.
If it were not for the press, people would not know what the government is up to. To be worked like a mule, to be a piece of property.
How cruel is that? January 1st, you will be free.
How does a constitution become more perfect?
Tonight at 9 on WNMU TV.
Welcome back. I'm Andy Jordan, and I'll be taking you through our Public Eye weather report. Taking a look across our roof cam here, you can see a couple clouds coming in. Tree leaves turning red, beautiful day out. Looking across the UP, in Houghton it is 63 and sunny, in Ironwood 65 and cloudy, in Iron Mountain 62 and mostly sunny, in Menominee 59 and partly cloudy. Taking a look at the east side of the map here, in Escanaba it is 58 and partly cloudy, in Manistee 57 and partly cloudy, in Sault Ste. Marie 56 and partly cloudy, and back here in Marquette it is 60 degrees and mostly sunny. Taking a look at our current conditions, we have wind coming from the south at 18 miles per hour with our barometric pressure at 29.96 inches and falling. And looking to tonight, partly cloudy skies with a low of 54 degrees. Winds, again, still coming from the south at 18 miles per hour with our moon phase at a waning crescent. And looking to tomorrow, cloudy skies with a high of 66 degrees, a low of 54. Winds still coming out of the south, but at 8 miles per hour. And looking to the rest of the week, heats up a little bit, cools back down afterwards. On Wednesday, a high of 70, a low of 48 with rainy conditions. On Thursday, a high of 48, a low of 39 and some more rain. And on Friday, a high of 45 and a low of 37 with partly cloudy conditions. And that is all I have for your weather. Back to the desk.
Thank you, Andy Jordan, for that weather update. It's looking a little more rainy this weekend, but hopefully that will change. Now moving into national news. Investigators for multiple federal agencies have launched an interagency operation as the troubled New York City jail has had problems. This facility is where Sean Combs is being held currently for his crimes of sex trafficking charges. The investigators are helping to make the place a safe environment for both inmates and employees. Currently, the jail is used to house inmates who await trial in the federal courts. Combs' lawyer has pointed out the horrors that are in the jail, such as rampant violence and multiple deaths. The Brooklyn jail has complained about the violence and dreadful conditions in the jail. They also suffer from severe staffing shortages. This jail also has experienced many lockdowns due to inmates escaping and calls to visit cells. And McDonald's is set to bring the Quarter Pounder back to the menu after the recent E. coli outbreak. After testing the beef patties that the restaurant received, it was negative for E. coli. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration believes that the severed onions from the single supplier were the reason for the outbreak. The outbreak had expanded to at least 75 people in 13 states that were sick with E. coli. 22 people were hospitalized and 2 developed dangerous kidney disease with complications, while 1 person had passed away in Colorado. Symptoms of E. coli can include fever, vomiting, diarrhea, or even signs of dehydration. McDonald's pulled the burger out from many menus in several states, but mostly in the Midwest and mountain states. It is set to hit the menu again with the onions off of the burger. And the nonprofit Food Rescue US collects excess foods to distribute amongst its partners, one of which is the World Bank. CBS reporter Natalie Brand has more on the partnership benefits everyone. Take a look.
On a busy week at the World Bank, the kitchen cranks out up to 8,000 meals. What's not consumed, Chef Nick Cavaretta and his team carefully package and prep for donation to organizations in need.
We love statistics here at the World Bank, so we just get a weight on everything so we can monitor exactly how much food gets donated.
Cavaretta estimates up to 900 pounds any given week, 25,000 pounds over the past year.
You showed us all this beautiful food. It would have been painful
to throw it away?
Yeah, of course. I mean, perfectly edible.
Volunteers from the organization Food Rescue USDC pick up the leftovers weekly and deliver them on this day to a facility that provides housing to veterans who have experienced homelessness. Lisa Harris, who served in the Air Force, says when her food stamps run low, this is what fills the fridge.
You may not think it, but you never know when you might be in this position. And I'm telling you, not knowing where your food is going to come from, not knowing what you're going to eat, it's hard. It's very hard. And we are appreciative.
Kate Urbank of Food Rescue US's Washington, D.C. chapter says her group serves a dual mission, fighting hunger and climate change by keeping the food out of landfills and redirecting it to nonprofits.
When you think about the fact that 30 to 40% of food is wasted and over 45 million people live in households experiencing food insecurity, it just makes a lot of sense to do the match.
For institutions like the World Bank, where ending poverty is the mission, it's a win-win.
If you can just help one person, it would be like a shame not to do that.
When you got food like this, people, please donate.
Lisa Harris hopes more organizations heed the call. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Washington.
We'll be right back after this short break. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to Public Eye Sports. I'm your host, Luke Dinnell, and I'll be taking you through your Monday breakdown. Leading off 100 miles north, the NMU Wildcats went up US 41 to Houghton and took on the Michigan Tech Huskies for the annual Miners Cup. It was a close game into the second quarter, tied at 3-3, and then the floodgates opened. Tech poured 36 straight on the Cats, including a punt return touchdown and a cascade of passing. Even with 4 takeaways by the Wildcat defense, the offense wasn't quite enough, losing the yards battle 419 to 210 when it was all said and done. Northern now looks towards this Saturday for senior night when they host the Ferris State Bulldogs, riding high after a 34-7 domination of #1 Grand Valley State. And heading over to the Barry Event Center, the Wildcats hockey team hosted the Arizona State Sun Devils for their second home series in a row. In Game 1, the Devils were in the driver's seat for a majority of the game, scoring 2 in the second period to overtake a 1-1 stalemate and took game #1 3-1. Northern stepped it up in Game 2 defensively, locking in a 0-0 chess match for periods 1 and 2. In the third, ASU finally broke through the Cats' defense, sending one past Ryan Ouellette for the advantage with less than 4 minutes to play. Ouellette once again was the star of the show this weekend, making 37 saves Friday and then 36 Saturday. Ouellette is currently tied for first in the entire NCAA for total saves with 193. And looping back around to the gridiron, it was once again a great day for the NFC North, as both the Packers and Lions picked up dubs yesterday. For the green and gold, an injury to Jordan Love wasn't enough to deter them, as a tight game with the Jacksonville Jaguars ended with Brandon McManus scoring a game-winning field goal for the second week in a row. On the flip side, the Lions pounced on the Tennessee Titans, mauling them 52-14. Special teams made special plays, with Khalif Raymond carving the Titan defense with 190 punt return yards and a touchdown, just 17 yards short of an NFL record. With both teams now at 6 wins, the 2 NFC North heavyweights will clash next week in Lambeau. That's all I have for sports. Back to the news desk.
Thank you, Luke, for that sports update. Pretty big weekend in football for the Detroit Lions. Did you happen to catch that game?
I did not, but I did hear about it, and it sounded pretty good and pretty intense.
Yeah, pretty dominating win. Definitely have a shot at the Super Bowl, I think, this year. Next week's game against the Packers should be pretty good as well. I think they head out to Lambeau, if I'm not mistaken. So
I think that'd be interesting.
Pretty awesome game.
And that's all the time we have at Public Eye News. I'm Bianca Kroll.
I'm Reed Hall.
And we'll see you tomorrow.
The preceding program was produced by WNMU-TV, Northern Michigan University Public Television, in studios located in Elizabeth and Edgar Hardin Hall.